Good morning, everybody, and a very special warm welcome to, well, firstly Gary, and a friend of ours, and then to Bruce, and to Lucy, and Vicky, and their mum, and Lucy's mum and gran. That's all visitors today. Very welcome to this Interfaith gathering. When we begin our services, we usually light a chalice candle. Now we've gone very electronic, and I'll do it in a minute. And we say a few words. And these are the chalice lighting words for today. We come from many places, along different paths, bringing different truths. We come with different histories and different realities, and yet we come together as one people with faith that we can use our differences to heal ourselves and each other, to bring wholeness to a fractured world. We come seeking to find community, to find acceptance of who we are. In this place we may find others who are much like us and others who are much different. May our lit chalice remind us that we are a people taught by different stories with many voices, but always one people working for a world where love creates justice and justice gives birth to peace. I like the chalice.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I want to say a few words about why we're here, first of all. Of course, it's Interfaith Week, or the start of Interfaith Week. And this was started with, I'm chair of Aberdeen Interfaith Group, and under the umbrella of Interfaith Scotland, we try and organise a few things and a few events to celebrate Interfaith Week, which was started about 2004, I believe, by Interfaith Scotland. And so this time, every year, we celebrate different faiths, religions, and people, communities who come together and celebrate our freedom of faith and belief, which we believe is very important. Whether we all have a belief of something, it doesn't have to be religious, so we accept people of all faiths and none usually. That's the way we like to bring communities together, so we have that freedom. But before we go much further, we like to just sing a song, and it says, "Tomorrow is a highway broad and fair."
Tomorrow is a
So, to give you more of an idea of what um, what this week is all about and what Interfaith Scotland is all about, we have a small video which we can just look at and give you some idea. So the theme for this week is our future. Our theme for today is planting the seeds for our future. And this can be seen in many different ways, as we'll explore a little bit later. But first, let me just play this and give you some idea of what the theme is all about.
Joint action for the common good of all.
Play it from the beginning.
Hi, I'm Maureen and I'm Director of Interfaith Scotland.
Interfaith Scotland is the national organisation for Scotland that promotes good community relations by bringing faith communities and others together to build understanding, tackle hatred and bigotry, and engage in joint action for the common good of all the people of Scotland. We are living in a divided and polarised world. Communities are torn apart by war, climate change, displacement, poverty and injustice. And although working mainly in Scotland, we can see how our communities here are impacted greatly by global issues, and we do all we can to tackle that impact by hosting inclusive and safe dialogue events, by bringing communities together to build understanding and to work together for the common good. The communities we engage with include Buddhist, Baha'i, Christian, Jewish, Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, pagan and others. We also work closely with anti-racist organisations, refugee organisations, schools, local authorities and the Scottish Government to tackle hatred in all its guises and to build community cohesion. This year we're proudly celebrating the 20th anniversary of Scottish Interfaith Week. Since its inception, we've engaged thousands of people in celebrating the rich religious and cultural diversity of Scotland through dialogue and so many creative activities such as music, dance, exhibitions, storytelling, poetry, ceilidhs, family fun days, basically celebrating the joy of being together and connecting. When we first started out, we had a handful of events with a small number of participants. They were lovely events, small and impactful, but now we're seeing the festival grow year on year, with around 100 events taking place in just 1 week, with hundreds more people engaging of all ages and many geographical areas of Scotland, from the Shetland Isles to the borders, and the events are always open to all faiths and none.
We had a pilot, first of all.
That's right.
I'll just stop it there because it's quite a long video. Quite interesting. It goes into many aspects of what's been happening or what is trying to be achieved. So it's quite good. I'll just try and get out of this in 2 minutes.
Joint action.
So, so this year it's all about our future. So the younger generation was approached to find out, well, what is concerns for younger people? And among them was education, climate, mental health, poverty, and discrimination. And so if you think about it, when we are young, when we're babies, when we're first born, we don't have these things. We don't discriminate. We don't judge. We don't have an idea of what is right or wrong. Or, we learn these things. We take this on board, and it's usually by the people that's raising us or the environments that we're in. And so we learn to be the people who we are. It's not something that we are born specifically with. And this came as a bit of a revelation to me. One time I was in a meeting and was discussing, what's happening in the world and in government and in different places, and the positive impact that certain people can have. And even, you know, if they're not saying a great deal. For instance, somebody, is dressed in a Buddhist robes. They meditate a lot. They be praying a lot, and such things. So you instantly have a positive idea about that person. So you're judging that person. You have a positive idea that they want peace and everything in the world. That's without even saying anything. So these people who are speaking like at the government level, what would it be like if they had that idea of peace firmly planted, truth firmly planted in their minds, that they want everything for the betterment of everybody and not just serving their own agenda? That would be really good, wouldn't it? What we could achieve with that kind of thing. So my question was, well, how do we achieve that? How can we have people of that kind of thought process in positions of power that can make a difference? And somebody turned around and said, well, it's all about education, isn't it? Again, we grow up knowing what is the idea of what's bad and wrong and what is right and what is good. And so if we learn the right things at an early age, then we're going to exude that. We're going to demonstrate that in our ways in which we communicate. And so I thought, this is a very important thing to pass on, especially from the likes of us, the likes of a lot of the older generation. Pass on these good ways of being, these good thought processes. And this is in everything. It's not just in how to be good, it's how to look after our environment, how to find balance in politics, but also in nature. These things go hand in hand. We can't neglect one, because if you neglect nature, you've got no politics, because we're in a crisis. Even if you neglect politics, then we're all in a chaos, because we're following a lot of our own rules. So it's all about balance. You can't have one without the other. And so this is what this is all about. And so you see on the screen at the moment, so a competition went out to schools. So this is really trying to engage young people into exploring these ideas in a creative way. And it's just really, it's sowing the seeds from that kind of level of interacting, being in community and looking at the different things that we've discussed in education, climate and health and discrimination. And if we don't send these positive ways of learning at an early age, then what do we expect of people when they get older and get into positions of power? It starts at a very young age. So we've got to put effort into these things. And it can be hard, it can be difficult, but this is why we all work together in communities, to try and help each other and support each other. So so in on that vein, and the way we can all benefit is likes of today. We have a couple of people here, Vicky and Lucy, who who can contribute in their way by providing music, providing a voice, and that's something we can all partake in, we can all enjoy. And so I would like to hand over to these two wonderful people, and we can just sit and enjoy the music that they can bring to us today.
Right, so I'm Lucy. I'm Vicky. And we're going to start off with You've Got a Friend in Me from Toy Story. If you know it, feel free to sing along. But this is obviously about the people in your life being important to you and how important friends are, and making sure, like the lyrics, you've got troubles, I've got them too. So that's community and all that. So yeah, enjoy. Okay.
When the road looks like a head in your mind.
you might notice a theme here. But it's when she's riding through the forest and she's on her horse and she's got no worries, no cares. She's just enjoying herself, moving through life and doing what she really enjoys, which is important. So yeah, hope you enjoy this one too. Way more recognizable, Super Trooper by ABBA. It's about someone who's really excited. She's really happy because she's finding someone again. Someone's coming back to her. So again, it's important to keep people close to you close and enjoy being in their presence and about being better when they're you do bring out the best in each other, I think. So yeah, have fun. Yeah. Children's Utopia, signed by Shakira. This is about, through the lyrics, she talks about how like things don't always go your way, but you should always get back up and try no matter what goes wrong. So that's the message of this one. Right. Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield. You might recognise it, maybe not by the name, but it's about how you don't know what's in your future and you have the power yourself to take your own path. It's your life. You do what you want with it. You write your own future. It's a nice positive one.
And you can always make your own life choices, no matter what's the outcome, depending if it's good or bad.
Yeah. So it's another happy one. Half a ball, same wall. Yeah.
Audience petition.
Yeah. Okay. Nope. Oops. Okay, take two.
I am unwritten, can't read my mind, I'm undefined. I'm just beginning, with pen in my hand, ending unplanned.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. That was wonderful. It just goes to show you what you can do when you just put a bit of effort in, and I found that really delightful. I'm sure we all did. But you can't beat a bit of live music and a bit of talent. And I think you've got a good road ahead of you, I think. So well done. So I meant to put that beforehand. Ace Voices. I did have I did print out something from the internet just to really tell you more about that for those who don't know. Because like me, I didn't know anything about Ace Voices or anything, so it's been a revelation, and I've enjoyed what I've heard here. So this is directly from the internet. Since its foundation in February 2011, Ace Voices has evolved into an inspiring network of creative projects, partnerships and communities involving 5,000 plus people of all ages in the northeast of Scotland, UK and further afield. Our core mission involves empowering people to believe in their voice by facilitating transformative community spaces in which people feel empowered to let their own voice flow freely, purposefully and confidently, support others to do the same, and listen to and trust the whispering voice inside that guides them towards living their most authentic and meaningful life possible. We believe that each and every person has a unique voice worth hearing, and that our voices encompass our whole sense of expression, whether through singing, dance, storytelling, drumming, drawing, free play, being outdoors, sports, the arts, or any other medium of expression. And I think you've demonstrated that today, so thank you. So now I would like to invite Bruce Gilliland to give us a talk. Our guest speaker, who we're really intrigued to find what you have for us today, and I'm sure it'll be wonderful. So you're a retired.
I'm a retired lecturer in biological science, and before that, horticulture, agriculture, various land-based studies. It was very interesting to hear your songs, ladies. Obviously, all from Disney. All I'm going to say is somebody who taught biology. I would get students coming in who had based their biological knowledge on Disney films. And I think Disney's very good for the songs. Maybe not rely on it for the biology. I was obviously invited here, and I'm invited to do the Interfaith talk about trees and what trees do for us at the St. Goodwillan next Sunday. So I appear to be the speaker for this year in Aberdeen. Now, I would have to say that I'd hoped we would have a wider audience from a lot of the different groups. So of course I've made up my talk based on that, because that one of the great things about the organisation is the diversity that we actually have within it. Now, you had mentioned earlier, Gary, it's the 20th anniversary and we have all these groups. Now, I can remember back in the dim and distant past, since I'm not a young man anymore, but what happened at the interfaith events is there were the major religions and you could join. But if you appeared to be a fringe member, you weren't allowed to join. You could come along and observe, but you were restricted in terms of, are we going to vote on something, but not you. And you had mentioned it about the Brahma Kumaris. Now, locally, the Brahma Kumaris were actually very great at setting out to try to do interfaith dialogue. But when it came to the national organisation, they were banned because we didn't really want the Brahma Kumaris. So there has been a big change over the years in terms of who is accepted. And that's really what a lot of my talk is going to be about, in terms of how we look at people. Now, for those who have never heard me speak before, or don't do me, in terms of belief system, I am pagan. So I am a polytheist. I believe in gods and goddesses. I would say I'm quite on pantheon side of our religion, because it's very religious belief system, because it's very diverse. And we actually see strength in diversity rather than everyone being the same, because we're individuals. And we've always seen that as a great benefit. And speaking to people of different faiths, they're a bit confused by us. Quite often quite suspicious of us, but clearly a bit dodgy. And one of the things that you'll find dealing with kind of authorities and organizations is they like people to fit into boxes. And I'll give you an example. About 25 years ago, the armed forces decided that they needed some new chaplains. They realised that the UK was a bit more diverse than it used to be, so they better think about different chaplains. So they were looking for Hindu chaplains. They were looking for Muslim chaplains. So via my Member of Parliament, I got him to contact and say, what about pagan chaplains? Because actually, you've got quite a few pagans in the armed forces. Now, several months later, the letter came back from the Ministry of Defence to my Member of Parliament who sent it on to me. And the basic was, no. But the point was, you're too diverse, we can't really figure out what you really believe. You don't have a set text that you're following. So no, we're not going to have any pagan chaplains. At the same time, there was a pagan in the TA, part of the armed forces. She served in Iraq. She was an intensive care nurse. When I say I served, I mean she was in helicopters keeping soldiers alive while rockets and bullets were going over her. But in a previous part of her life, she had been a Christian pastor. But then she was rebelling against her upbringing and became a Christian pastor, and then went back to being a pagan. And she said she was often approached saying, we've looked at your record, we see who you are. Would you like to be a chaplain? And she said, can I get a little witch badge to put on for my chaplaincy? No. And things have moved on, things have progressed from that. And my talk's going to be a bit about that there. Now, when we're talking about our futures, because that's what we're talking about here, we've got to actually consider the past and the actual present, because these affect it. These affect what we've got there. I cannot tell the future, otherwise I would have won the lottery on Friday and then be someplace else. But I can give a kind of educated guess in terms of looking at this history of my life, about my parents' life, because you learn about where you live through your parents, as you said, through your family, and you see the actual differences there. So, well, one of the things I'm going to bring in here is a bit of heathen philosophy. Now, heathens are part of the pagan community. You've probably seen them more in terms of comic books and films where there's Odin, Thor. And these are the sort of Germanic belief systems of Scandinavia, Northern Germanic unit, and they had their kind of belief system there. Now, I don't know if you've met any heathens, Probably not. I've met a few, and if you meet people from any group, they are going to range. And most of the ones I've met, I would think if you met them, you go, yeah, these are good, upstanding people, and how they react to people. Some of them are very right-wing Nazis. So there's that, with any community, you're going to find a big range. But one of their main beliefs was the web of weird. That's W-Y-R-D. Now, the word that weird, originates from this there. So basically, there was an interconnectedness from the past to the present to the future. Whatever happened to you was related to what happened to you from the past going through. And they often thought it was quite a kind of cosmic force, that there's really nothing you can do about it. Except if you had courage. If you had courage, you could escape this fate. I liked your last song. Because it's about being courageous. It's about living your own life. And old Scots, there's a saying to dree one's weird, which is really kind of gone out of fashion. But basically said, you've got to endure your destiny. You've made decisions, you've got to suffer for it. And coming from that, what's for ye no go by ye? Does anyone heard that phrase? Does anyone use that phrase? Heathens. Oh. But that comes from that kind of background. So they would kind of think about it as life is a big spider's web. And we can walk along the web, and you can go one direction, you can go the other direction, forwards, back the way, you can go to the sides. You can go one way, and things would happen in life. And you would, I think, I have to make a change, so I'm going to choose this way. And that's how people would live their lives. Now, some people could decide, no, I'm just going to hunker down, I'm not doing anything, I'll just let life go past me, which is the opposite of your song. So, your life really depended on decisions you make, that personal responsibility of decisions you make, or decisions you don't make. So let's go back to our theme, planting the seeds of our future. So I think with anything like that, you've got to look at kind of first principles, because what we've got here is our. So what does our actually mean? Oxford Dictionary says, belonging to us. Merriam-Webster, relating to ourselves, especially as possessors of something. So us. So with us, I'm referring to me and someone. Now, it could be me, you. It could be me and everyone else. Us. Because this is important in terms of how we think about ourselves and others round about. Because who is us? Because what we find when we look at the world, and I'm picking up in terms of what you said there, is that the whole political world affects us, and we affect the political world. And the concept of us has come into various conflicts in the past. If you think about Nazi Germany 100 years ago, it was starting to pick up. And they had a very definite who's us and who's them. And we know what happens in terms of what happened to Jewish populations, what happened to Jehovah's Witnesses, what happened to disabled people. So this us and them is very important. And what we have at the moment is we have quite large political movements which are really focusing on us and them. Think what's happening in the United States, where we've actually got a government which is saying, there's us, white people, mainly of a particular type of religious viewpoint. And we're the important ones. You other ones, oh no, you're not so. And we're actually going to discriminate against you. A few weeks ago, the government met with all the generals and admirals and Air Force officers, says, we're all going to make sure we're all tough as anything. We're going to kill people. We're going to do this. Everyone's going to be the same. So you've got a beard, and we're not going to have you having a beard. You're going to be all clean-cut Americans. That was because of the nature of the genetics in their bodies, African Americans get more skin complaints when they're shaving all the time. So they get permission to have beards to avoid this. So that statement was about saying, we don't want no black folks in our armed forces. See, so the concept of us and them is quite similar. Now, have you noticed any political movements in the UK which try to divide up and say about them? That's something which is affecting us just now. So there's a push going there, but it's not government policy. Now, the current UK Home Government Secretary says, and I'm quoting here, migrants will have to prove they are contributing to society to earn the right to remain in the UK. So here we have the government of the time, which is supposedly a more a left-leaning organisation, which we would think is more sympathetic to people at the bottom of the ladder, saying that you're going to have to prove you can stay here. And I found that utterly shocking, that a government would actually say that. And maybe because I've always read history, and they say history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. So themes come back again unless you're actually looking at it there. So who is us and them? Do we base it on the kind of nation state? I'm British, I'm Scottish, I'm European, I'm Asian. How do we actually kind of do that there? Do we think about us or ours in terms of your religious belief system? Is that your identity? Maybe you belong to a tribe where there's kinship or very strong shared values or strong religious or social ties that they come together. Maybe you think about yourself that way. But is ours just based on society? The society that we actually live in here. It's where you've got a group of people living together, kind of ordered community. Should that be a quite of homogeneous community which is all the same? Do everyone here have shared ideals? How is there a common culture? How do we decide what this is? Because we have this issue as the fact is, if we divide people up to us and them, how does this social grouping we live in, how does that work for everyone if there's them? Now, thankfully, we have got some laws, we have some legislation that actually tries to look at this. I'll just go over a few of the kind of the key points from that. Because obviously one of the first one is about age. You can't discriminate people because of age. And of course, a lot of these were written in terms of workplaces. You can't actually stop people saying, "Oh, I'm going to discriminate against old people or young people." So, have you ever been to any shops or any areas where people your age may congregate and you hear a noise in the background? And it's very annoying. It's actually cleared you a lot away because you're troubled. I had this brought to my attention teaching in the college, and there's an overhead projector, and there was something wrong with it, and it was giving a little buzz. I knew there was a little buzz there. That was no problem. As soon as my students came in, they went, "Oh, what's that, Bruce?" Because they were young people and they were affected by that. And you will find places that will put deliberately that there to chase youths away. So, even with the fact we've got legislation, we can still discriminate. And age is one of them. So, disability. So, if somebody is disabled and they've got a helper with them, do you speak to the disabled person or do you speak to the helper? Because in many cases, what people do is they speak to the helper, not the disabled person. They're not actually included in. And I've got some questions here because I want you to think about things in terms of yourself as an individual and also in terms of society and how we actually interact there. So, if you see somebody who's obviously got mental health issues, do you go and speak to them? Or do you keep well away? Because that is, you don't know how are they going to react because they're not well. And I would say even if you think, "Oh, I'm not sure about that," if you let the authorities know, the police will check. I'm saying that because I work with people who are mentally ill. And they are ill. And sometimes what we have to think about, and going back to the ages, do you know anyone with dementia? Because we've got more older people, we're seeing more people with the dementia. It's a natural thing. You have to remember when somebody's mental or somebody's got dementia, you're often trying to relate to that person as they were. But what you're actually doing is you're having to deal with the disease. And I think we have to have some compassion. First of all, compassion. To actually think about that there. Here's one that I think I'm probably far safer with in this organisation than it would be in many others. Gender reassignment. Does anyone here know anyone who's undergoing or planning to undergo gender reassignment, who want to change their sex? Does anyone actually know anyone in that situation? Just me then. Now, I know because I was going to do a talk here before, and somebody said, "I'm just letting you know, Bruce, there's somebody who's trans and they'll be there. I'm just warning you in case that's a problem." I went, "No problem at all." And it was no problem coming here because they were generally welcome. But we have this. It's not something normal. And something's not normal, we want to go, let's just keep away from this. Let's move back. I go to the Buddhist temple quite a lot at West Hill. I like to help out there. I planted a woodland out there for them. And there's a lot of people of Thai origin there. There's a lot of people from Sri Lankan origin And if somebody comes in and they're transgender, the Thai people are all speaking to them. And the Sri Lankan people are not. And this is because in Thailand, gender is much more fluid. And if somebody is gay or somebody wants to change their sex, that's much more socially acceptable. And people don't think about it. When after leaving here today, I'm going to visit a friend down in Rose Street, and she gave birth to 2 children, a son and a daughter. But she refers to them as my daughter and my other daughter, because he's a lady boy. Well, she's a lady boy. You know, so the culture and how we live makes a big difference to these if we don't think about it and just actually carry on with that, these kind of ideas that we've had. So, another good point here that was being mentioned up that we can bring. So, if we look around here, everyone's very peely-wally, as we would say in Scotland. We're all terribly white-skinned. How many friends have you got who are darker skinned or black skinned? And that's something to think about. And you see, you might sort of not be aware of how you're reacting because someone is different. And I was on a train in Boston, got onto the train, I was heading out to an arboretum. Boston, cosmopolitan city, lots of people, different ethnic groups. We all get on, whole mass of different people, because I'm on my own, I have people watching. Okay. About 45 minutes down the line where I'm heading, I'm the only white person in the carriage. Everyone else has got black skin. And I suddenly go, oh, I'm different here. Now, no one said boo to me. No one approached me in any negative way at all. But I suddenly went, oh. And you sometimes have to think about, don't think about in terms of your society, what you've thought about. Think about people. Because that then challenged me to think about, what do I think about people who have got different ethnicities? And sometimes life will have these little challenges that come towards you, and you've got to go, right, okay, let me actually think about this. And that's something I think we need to do in terms of looking at how we live with other people and the discrimination. Don't just carry on as normal. I went to some dance classes with somebody who used to be a member here. And you never knew who was going to turn up. Men and there was women. And it was a social dance, so you had to dance with them. And they wanted you to dance with different partners. And as it so happened, that night, there were 6 men and there was 4 women. So I had to dance with a man. So right, ballroom hold to start off with. Who's being the woman, who's being the man? And we've got to hold one another and we've got to dance. Again, oh, what's going on here? I'm a heterosexual male. What am I doing dancing like this with another man? And it's about thinking about those circumstances. Now, if a man would have been, if it's 2 women dancing, a man would go, that's perfectly okay. 2 men, oh, no. Lots of decisions in politics are made by men who don't think. Or they think very much about one particular way, which I'll look at that in a minute. So, do we have friends from different ethnic groups? Or maybe Asian friends? Who knows somebody who's a gypsy traveller? Anyone get any friends who are gypsy travellers? What do people tend to think about gypsy travellers? I have a friend who's a gypsy traveller. That's her background, that's her ethnic background. Now, does she travel about? No. She lives in a house. She has a mortgage. She works as a manager in shops. But she had been working for a firm nearby, and the manager came along and went, "You seem to be doing a good job. We'd really like to think about moving you and promoting you." Right? So, all going well. And he said, "Can you come along to this meeting on," say it was the Wednesday. I said, "Well, I can come on Wednesday because it's my day off, but I'm actually at an event in the townhouse. I'm on a committee that looks like diversity in the city." And he goes, "Well, why are you there?" She says, "Because I'm a gypsy traveller." The job offer was rescinded like that. And he then took a very aggressive approach to her for the rest of the time she was there. Now, there was somebody who had actually been working away. Everything was okay until that man discovered she was them. She wasn't us. I worked in college. I worked with a wide variety of people, and I was one of the kind of diversity champions. And the people who knew me personally knew I was pagan. So, yeah, just a pagan, yeah, it's fine. But other people didn't, and I didn't go around saying to a lot of people when I thought that would be an issue. And one of my colleagues was a very sort of had a very deeply held Christian faith. And I never let on that I was pagan. And he worked with me for years, and something came up, and it was one of my colleagues kind of nodded at me. I says, "Well," I won't mention his name. I said, "Well, this was my viewpoint as a pagan." "What do you mean you're a pagan?" You can't be a pagan." "Well, why?" "Well, how you act. You're one of the most ethical, moral people I know. How can you be a pagan?" Because we're people. Now, it took him about 3 months to come to terms, because he would come and ask me questions about how I lived and how I thought and what I would do. And he went, "You've changed how I think about people." Because he said, "I've known this person, and I would never have known you if you'd known about that label to begin with." And so similarly, the job we had, we interact with different people, and he never liked to go and observe people who were gay, because that was wrong in his belief system. And because he never had any gay friends, they were them. They weren't us. So, these things are important. Religious or belief systems. Have I seen any discrimination based on that? A fair bit. Now, this is a question which is now completely redundant, because I've only got 2 men to speak to. I was hoping for more. So I'm going to ask the men, have you ever been sexually harassed? Is that something within your ken? And most men will go, "No." You do the same to the women, and the women go, yeah. Men don't realise that. And that's why why are you getting bothered about that? they don't actually realise. They don't realise what actually has happened to women for years on a routine basis. Now, that is thankfully changing. It's a lot better than it was, but it's still there. And it's sometimes, as a man, they're a bit slow, but a bit thick. Dropping hints doesn't work. Tell us straight. The women are going, yeah, that's how it works. And as I say, sexual orientation, how many gay friends do you have? Because it's all about thinking about that. I had a colleague who'd come from Poland, and it was a diversity event, and he said, oh, but when I lived in Poland before I came here, he just went, oh, it's never got anything to do with gays. He says, now I'm here and I've got gay friends, you know, people he works with, I go, oh, actually they're okay, they don't have three heads. They're not going to try and abuse me and run off with the children. You know, so that's really quite important. This is what I'm going to ask a real question. Have you ever been discriminated against? Has somebody actually discriminated against you? Because how do you feel? It's not good when what have I done? Why am I being picked on by this? I mean, I've been told I'm burning in hell everlasting. The same man who said to me and I said, what about somebody like the Dalai Lama, who's most people reckon is an okay bloke. He's a nice man, he spreads peace, he does that. Nope, he's burning as well. Because he didn't follow the precise religious belief that he did, and they were wrong. And one of the things you mentioned before was about discrimination with people. I was personally brought up with my family to discriminate against others. I was brought up in Glasgow, where a mixed marriage means people from two different Christian religious beliefs. That's mixed. Not marrying somebody who's from a different ethnic background, that's not a mixed marriage, that's okay. You can't marry a Catholic. And I was brought up like that. My friends in the kind of tenement where I stayed were children that were Protestant or Catholic. And we were all young kids, everyone played about. And we got to 5, we were sent to different schools. Split away from one another. My grandmother, when I got to 15, said, remember, Bruce, you must never ever marry a Catholic. I'm going, too late, Gran, I'm a pagan now. You know, so you've got that bit there where you can actually be taught to discriminate. But you get what from the society you're living in, you get that. As a child, I remember going around, it was mainly boys played with one another and girls played with one another then. And you would learn from the other boys, that man there, that's Liam. Liam's the poof. So anytime you came across Liam, you gave him abuse. And when I look back, I think that poor man got abuse from everyone, just because his sexual orientation. And just awful. I think, and it was about the language he used. So go to the Packies, the corner shop, to get something. Well, they're people there, they're darkies. They're minkers. And you get these things coming from society. A word thankfully don't hear, another word you don't hear much, spastic. They're a spastic. Which you might not have heard, but we probably all did. And that would be somebody who had a disability. And there was a spastic society, which was a particular disability, and they actually changed the name of it because it was now, it started off as being somebody had an involuntary movement, and it then became a pejorative term to people who were disabled in some way. Now, we've changed all that. And, the legislation there is to try and stop those things so that they gradually go. But I know people that I grew up with that will still discriminate on all of those bases. And as I say, my family, we were taught to discriminate. And I was in Kazakhstan, and it was a beautiful little Orthodox church, 3 meters by 3 meters, in the middle of a forest in a remote part of Kazakhstan. And a man kept having dreams, and in the dreams it said, you have to build this church. You have to build this church here. And it really is, when I'm saying this in the middle of nowhere, we're talking about a 2-hour drive on a really rough, rocky track to go to a very small settlement. And he built this church. As I say, it's very small, and it's full of icons. And I posted on Facebook this beautiful church and these beautiful painted icons. And my cousin went, what the F are you doing? That's Catholic, because it's the Virgin Mary. So these things can blight people and how they react to you. So we have to be aware of how we speak, how we act with people, so that we don't do that consciously or unconsciously. Now, I'm very glad that earlier on you spoke about the fact that we've got politics and governments, because I was going to start off by apologising and saying, I'm going to break the 2 rules of social etiquette, talking about religion and politics. Scottish Government released a white paper 11 years ago regarding migration, and it's quite different from the UK government, because there's a different attitude to people who will come in. And there's actually a survey done every year called the Migration Policy Attitude Survey, where they ask people, what difference? What do you think about people? And Scotland scores higher than, say, England or Northern Ireland. And here, 65% believe diversity is good for Scotland. That's actually a good bit higher than England. Respondents that gave the best results said, what we actually need to do, where there were high levels of social contact, then you got the better results, because they were then dealing with people, and they were seeing them as people, not as others. Now, the last few years those figures have been going down, because we've actually got a lot of negative pressure from the mainstream media, which is actually designed to cause discrimination and hatred, and the idea about these people are okay to kick down because they're not us. A lot of money has actually come in from the US to do that to our society. And you actually see this in mainstream media. Even if you look at places like the BBC, I'm going to mention the Reform Party. Disproportionate, high invitations to give their viewpoint. Disproportionately high, because studies have actually been done on that. So, and they've got, it's all about promotion of scapegoating. It's them. And one of my favourite cartoons is one of a very large fat man. He looks suspiciously like a well-known Australian media tycoon. And he's sitting next to 2 other people. and he's got a plate just piled up with cookies. And next to him, there's another man, and he's got 2 cookies. And next to him, there's a man who's got no cookies whatsoever. And the man with all the cookies points to the first one saying, he's after your cookies. That's scapegoating. That's the problem there. Nothing to do with me. And we're seeing that all the time. So in Scotland, we have actually the concept of New Scots. So it's about describing people from any nationality background who come here, and they're here, they want to move here and work here. And it was all about welcoming refugees and economic migrants, but it's looking at things in a completely different way. You're not a migrant. You're not an in-about-comer, as we say in the northeast of Scotland. You're a New Scot. See the difference in the tone. And you see, looking in North America, you'll get a similar thing in Canada, being accepting of people. With the USA currently, no. We're not having that there. So, when we think about planting the seeds of our future, we actually need to think about how do we do that there? Because our future needs to be our, not our. We need to be sort of looking at there. So we need to be looking at that both on an individual basis and a societal basis. And as I say, often or not, we just don't think about these things until we're challenged, but we actually need to think about it. So we have to think about in terms of, if we're going to sow these seeds, we've got to stop this whole thing about othering people, being them. We're all the same. We come from different cultures, perhaps. We've had different backgrounds, but we're all the same. I used to teach biological science. There's humans. There's no races. We're humans. Our genetics are slightly different, so we have a different appearance, we have a different skin colour, we have different reactions to things. But here, the highest proportion of gingerhead redheads in the world is Scotland and Ireland. Do we discriminate against them? She's a ginger, she's a ginger. So we have to watch what we're actually doing there. We need to remember we're all the same species. People need to be treated with dignity and respect. Now, Interfaith Group, is kind of set up so that we do this, and I'm speaking to mainly Unitarians here, and they have had that approach forever. So from that point of view, I'm speaking to the converted. But within communities, and this was probably based on the fact I thought there were more interfaith people here, we've got to actually talk about within faith groups, faith communities, about this. Because we're going to find within faith groups people who say, yeah, but we're right and they're wrong. We have the absolute truth. They don't. Because if you can persuade people, whether it's from a religious background or a political background, that we are absolutely right, you can commit the most awful atrocities if you can get people to follow you. So we need to actually say within the communities, dialogue needs to be made with those ideologues that say, no, we are absolutely right, you're wrong. I know when I go to interfaith events, there's going to be people who say to me, but Bruce is a pagan. No, he's a bit dodgy. I'm perfectly okay with that. I have got no problems with that whatsoever, as long as they treat me as a human being. The problems come when you get you're rotting in hell because I disagree with your faith system. So we've got to stop any antagonism. You know, it's perfectly okay to agree to disagree peacefully. Now, obviously, looking at the research, another thing that's very important is we keep having social contact with people from different groups, different backgrounds. Some of these different groups are mentioned. And it's not just a case of, oh, well, I'll just see if they happen. I think it's important that we actually seek out to speak to people of that. And I go to the Buddhist temple. I've had a great time dealing with Thai people and their culture and Sri Lankan people. I've had fabulous meals. So I'm vegetarian, so the Sri Lankans are much better for the vegetarian food than the Thais. You know, but we can learn from one another and engage in that. But also we need to engage with people from a political point of view that are actually amenable to this cause here. Now, I'm trying to do the politics here with a small p, okay? But it seems to be that the Scottish Parliament is much more strongly engaged with trying to look at diversity within the community and welcome that than Westminster is. So if you don't want to involve in that side, there's various different civic organisations, people at the Common Weal, who are trying to help society in general. You know, but I mentioned earlier on about society and do we think of ourselves as British or Scottish? Basically, we have to work within a legal framework, so you've got to kind of think about ourselves in that way for a lot of things that we do. There was a scholar who lived through the Nazi regime, and he was asked, well, why did ordinary Germans allow these things to happen? And he went, basically, they just wanted to keep their heads down, just let the world go past. They were a bit scared, they were a bit frightened, didn't want to get involved. And that's why the atrocities were carried out. So I don't think we can just say, we've got these things on the horizon here, we'll just keep our head down and let it go. We actually have to be positive in terms of what we're going to do. Last song, positive. We're going to live our lives, we're going to do things. So let's go back to the past, the web of weird. Now remember they said that they thought, you know, the things you weren't going to go past you would just have to suffer and whatever because they were like. But they said with courage, you could beat the system. With courage, you can sow the seeds of the future to make a better life for yourself and others round about, so that we live with dignity and respect, no matter what ethnic background or religion or whatever that you have. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bruce. That was very good. Enjoyed that. Some wise words and something for us all to think about. And so we'll go into. I just want to pitch really what we're going to be doing this at the end of this week. Where Bruce will be appearing again and giving us he'll be a guest speaker on the 9th of November. So again, organised by Aberdeen Interfaith with the theme of our future. So we're planting a tree and some bulbs, and we'll hopefully have some little packs that we can, or people can take away and plant, whether it be in their own gardens or in their own places of worship, as a representation of the seeds that we plant and grow, and getting closer to nature. And it's a community kind of gathering, get together, where we can learn all about nature and how that affects us, how it affects the climate. There'll also be some food there, so it's a case of sharing, a case of just enjoying that day. So if you are available and you want to come along, we highly welcome at the Gurdwara in Aberdeen. So I'd like to just finish really with a slight blessing, or a small blessing. So we give thanks for what we have learned today and what we have heard, and the importance of the freedom of just being who we are, and the community and bringing together. And we go out with these thoughts, and maybe that radiates, and maybe that ruminates and radiates onto the people that we connect with. And may that always be the case. So we give thanks for that. And we like to just finish the service by extinguishing the chalice light. And we carry that with us as we leave this place. The light stays within us and connects as we connect with other people. So thank you, everybody.